Hello all, welcome to my fragrance journey. My name is Ron, and today I'm going to be sharing affordable fragrances, specifically affordable fragrances that smell good and their affordable price tag is just a bonus. And I say that because sometimes, myself included, we find things that smell really good for the price, because this fragrance is $10, it's really a nice little bargain, a nice little steal. But if it were 20, 50, 100, whatever it is, it wouldn't maybe be as fantastic at that, higher price point. And so in this case, I picked things that I think just smell fantastic, and the price point is truly just icing on the cake. So yes, you can save money, and yes, I think that's fantastic. It's something I like to do, but at the same time, there's no question that it's just a really gorgeous fragrance, even if it did cost more than it currently does, and it would still, not feel like you were being price gouged or like you're buying something that is, perhaps drugstore quality at a luxury price tag, right? These are things that, whether they're luxury, drugstore, whatever, they're just lovely, but currently you're going to be able to save some money too. So without further ado, let us go ahead and get on into it. All right, so first up we have Fakhar by Lattafa. Now, this is the one in the white bottle, rose gold detailing. I say that there are 3 others in different colors and different metal, finishes, gold, silver, all that. This is the one, rose gold with the white bottle. Just keep that in mind. On Fragrantica, they list it as Fakhar Rose, but nowhere else have I ever seen that. So if you're looking it up to buy, you're just going to have to look up Fakhar. This fragrance came out in 2022. I bought it in 2023. It was one of the first fragrances where I kind of had stumbled into fragrance YouTube and saw a bunch of videos about this and how amazing it was. And I have to say, this is an instance where it was right. That is not always the case in fragrance YouTube. That is definitely a money-saving tip. Don't always believe the hype. But in this case, for me, the hype did actually deliver. I really love this fragrance. I've talked about it before in one of my early videos. It was a dedicated review. And I really want to rectify that. I think in that video, I came off a little more ho-hum, a little more meh about this fragrance, and that's not the case. I think this is fantastic. So the notes on Fragrantica say fruits, lily, pomegranate, and aldehydes at the top. Then we have tuberose, jasmine, gardenia, ylang ylang, honeysuckle, rose, and peony in the mid. And then finally vanilla, white musk, sandalwood, and ambroxan in the base. Now, also Fragrantica compares this, at least as far as the votes, to most of the L'Interdit line by Givenchy. I've never knowingly smelled any of those. I cannot attest to that, because I actually didn't know about that. Even my first review, I think I mentioned that I didn't know if it was trying to dupe anything or not, because I, frankly, again, haven't smelled those. I wouldn't know. What I do know is this is really beautiful. This is one of my, do everything fragrances, whether it's warm weather, cool weather, I'm going into a professional setting or a gathering, a wedding, whatever it may be. I know I could put this on and be happy, and not just, oh, okay, I smell fine. No, I smell pretty, I smell pulled together, I smell clean, I smell a bit fresh, I smell a bit sweet, a bit musky, a bit vanilla, lots of floral. It's truly delivering on everything that it's giving in the note breakdown, to the point where actually it's so well kind of meshed together that I can't really pick out a lot separately. I'll be curious, actually, maybe I'll check it out in my first video if I tried to, early on especially, I was really trying to force myself to find the note. But honestly, no, I don't really find a lot of distinct notes. I just find those facets. There's a fruity facet, there is a floral facet, a vanillic facet, a musky facet, primarily fruits, florals, musk, and then the vanilla. And it's just really lovely, and it's so easy to wear. And it's also a good one, even if I'm not maybe doing anything particular, but maybe I'm just a bit conflicted on what I want to wear that day. Maybe my mood feels a little mixed up and I can't pinpoint on what sort of a profile I want. I know I can grab this, and it's not only, again, going to be fine. No, it's going to actually make me happy because it is just a kind of a uplifting fragrance. There's kind of a breezy cheeriness to this. So yeah, this is a really lovely one. And as far as affordability, right now on Amazon, from the Lattafa store on Amazon, I'm seeing this for $23.49. Of course, local taxes, of course, Amazon prices are always subject to fluctuation, probably more than anywhere else. But even when I originally bought this in 2023, I think it was under $30, somewhere around the $25 mark. So right now, under 25, somewhere around there. But like I said with this video, even were it to cost more than it does, I would not bat an eyelash, and I would pay more for this. Now, of course, if people want to get technical, oh, really, Ron, you'd pay $300? I'm not paying $300 for any fragrance, let me tell you that. But were, this to maybe be a $40, $50, something like that, something still reasonable. I'm still not made of money. Yes, I would think that this was not overpriced at all. So yeah, this is Fakhar by Lattafa. Okay, I filmed this one a couple times because I just can't stop myself from waxing a little too poetic. So this is Benetton Hot by Benetton. This is one that I got earlier this year. I was very graciously gifted a decant by the lovely, amazing, super cool Danielle at Perfume Journal. As always, anybody I mentioned, as well as the fragrances I mentioned, are all going to be listed below for you. So this, again, I was gifted earlier this year a decant. Before I even finished it, I bought a full bottle. This is so good. Let me give you the deets before I start rambling again. So this is, this launched in '97. The notes on this one from Fragrantica are Brazilian rosewood, mandarin orange, lemon, bergamot, apricot, iris, water jasmine, lily of the valley, vanilla, sandalwood, amber, musk, cedarwood, and oak moss. If you look on Fragrantica, the main accord everybody says is woody. If you look at the comments, people say this is a woody fragrance. There's 3 different types of wood listed in the notes on Fragrantica. I don't find this an especially woody fragrance. I get that a little bit, and especially into the dry down a little bit. I definitely get a little bit of that cedar, sandalwood, but just a touch. Honestly, this is another one where things are very well, blended together as far as the notes. It's really hard for me to discern very much. I know I get some citrus kind of leaning towards that lemon bergamot in the initial sprays, but that goes away pretty quickly as far as being anything prominent. It's still there a little, but anything distinct citrusy kind of goes away pretty quick. Again, there's a little woodiness. There's some musk. I definitely get the musk. I also do get the floral softly. Again, nothing distinct in this one. The best way I can describe this fragrance, and it's very picturesque, so again, I'm going to try not to ramble, and this isn't probably going to help many people, but hopefully if you can visualize. This is like it is spring or summer, and you've stepped outside in the morning, right? So it's not too hot. Things are just starting to warm up. Maybe it's like 10, 11 in the morning. So things are warming up, but we're not in the full blast of summer. And so there's that warmth out, and it's a very sunshiny day. There's no clouds there, but there's a nice breeze. So you're getting a nice just touch of crispness, but it's mostly just a lovely soft breeze, but very apparent, very present. And you almost feel like you can smell that sunshine on the air. Like you feel like this breeze is wafting the sunshine, the burgeoning warmth of the day to your nose. That is what this smells like to me. It is truly, as I've said many times before, sunshine in a bottle, but it's not a summer scent. It's not an anything scent. This is another do anything. You can wear this anywhere, anytime. I do not think it would be inappropriate for any situation. And it's very uplifting, very cheering. This is even more so than the Lattafa. This really boosts my mood anytime I wear it. and I just adore this. I'm actually wearing it as my scent of the day today. This is definitely affordable, Jim. This is $9 anywhere you find it. Maybe occasionally, price fluctuations up to 12. I've never seen it for more than $12. It's 100 mils. And again, could easily be packaged differently, a different brand, a different house, or this, Benetton could just get a little greedy and jack the price up a little bit, and I would not bat an eyelash. So this is the very lovely Benetton Hot by Benetton. Now we have Still by Jennifer Lopez. This launched in 2003. The nose behind it is Michelle Girard, and this is a really good example of how fragrances that might be at an affordable price point, at a lower price point, are still being created by people who are creating luxury, niche, high-end fragrances. Michelle Girard has done fragrances for many different houses, many different brands. We've got Christian Lacroix, Dolce & Gabbana, Emilio Pucci, Ex Nihilo, Lacoste, Nina Ricci, Burberry, Rabanne, all sorts. But they've also done Still by Jennifer Lopez. And this is a fragrance, depending on where you look, again, going to vary a little bit. I got this, I believe this is the 50 ml for $25, I think, on eBay. You can find it on eBay. You can find it on FragranceNet. Very affordable. But again, the price is just the bonus because it smells fantastic. This is a tea fragrance. Notably, it has at the top Earl Grey tea, white pepper, mandarin orange, apple, and rice. Then we've got jasmine, lily of the valley, freesia, honeysuckle, orange blossom, and rose. And finally, pepper, musk, sandalwood, iris, and amber. So with this, first and foremost, when I spray it, it's another one that does a blast of citrus. I get that mandarin orange right away. Although between the apple maybe and the orange, I'm not sure what it is. It's less orange and more lemon to me, I would say. A watery lemon though. Like there's an aquatic touch to it. Then almost immediately I get the Earl Grey tea. The Earl Grey tea is very prominent in this. It's prominent the whole way through. It actually did take me a second or two to kind of get used to it when I first was wearing it earlier this year. I kind of thought, it's good, but there's something a little different. And really, I've honed in. I think it's the tea. There's just something about this tea note that took a little getting used to. And I never disliked it. I always thought it was good. But it just took a little longer for it to really kind of settle in my mind and me be like, okay, this isn't just a good fragrance. This is a real stunner. And it really is. This is kind of encapsulated by the bottle and the name. It says Still. It's this kind of dusky, smoky quartz color. And it really is just calm, still, tranquility in a bottle. This feels very spa-like. It feels very self-care, I guess people would say today. It just is a very lovely, fresh, clean, but this isn't bright. This isn't like the others where I'm necessarily being uplifted. It's not bringing me down. This is kind of just maintaining. We're just calm, cool, collected, again, pulled together, again, wearing this pretty much anywhere. This one is a more, again, very distinctive because it's such a strong tea scent. So you might find occasions and places where it just might not fit your personal mood. But that's going to, again, be personal because I can and have worn this many different applications. Also for bed. This is a great bedtime fragrance. And yeah, it's just super lovely. So this is Still by Jennifer Lopez. And we have to end this with the Grand Dame, White Diamonds by Elizabeth Taylor. This launched in 1991. The nose behind it is Carlos Benaim. And again, this is a situation where we've got a perfumer who's done many not just fragrances for various houses and things, but this is a perfumer that's done many iconic fragrances beyond just White Diamonds. We've got Lead by YSL, Flower Bomb by Viktor and Rolf, Euphoria by Calvin Klein, Pure Poison from Dior, My Way, Giorgio Armani. I mean, again, this is a top perfumer, and yet they're also creating things that are being sold at an affordable price point. White Diamonds probably being the crown jewel amongst those in his line of work, because this fragrance is so popular, so long lived, so just iconic at this point. It has notes of aldehydes, lily, neroli, orange, and bergamot at the top. The middle is Egyptian tuberose, jasmine, ylang ylang, narcissus, carnation, Italian orris root, Turkish rose, and cinnamon. The base is musk, amber, sandalwood, oak moss, and patchouli. I've just sprayed it on, not having worn it for a little while. And oh my gosh, every time it's just so good. So I get definitely the aldehydes. I've talked about before that these are sparkling, fizzy aldehydes. They feel like champagne bubbles, is what I think. I'm sure, as always, that Elizabeth Taylor would enjoy that reference there. And yeah, it's just sparkly aldehydes at the top. I get all those white florals, the tuberose, the jasmine, the lily, the neroli. It's just so good. It's just, yeah, sparkling citrus and aldehydes and white florals upon white florals. I do get a little bit of the oak moss. I do get a little bit of the patchouli, but overall, it's just a gorgeous floral fragrance that wears honestly pretty linear. I find in the dry down it does get a little, softer, of course, but overall it maintains kind of what it starts with, and it's so beautiful. I'm not mad at it. It's just such a great one. It's timeless and iconic and all the good things for a reason. And I got this 100 mil, I want to say for $18, $20. I've seen it creep up to around maybe 25, but again, generally $25 or less. They also do sell this one, I believe, in a 50 mil, and I usually see that for around $18 or so, 15. So, you can always see about getting it a little bit smaller. Also, of course, this one's all over eBay, Mercari, all of that. So everyone's got like Dabber or whatever. There's all sorts of ways to kind of look up this fragrance and find a version to try out. But even if you were to buy it brand new from the Estee Lauder, the Elizabeth Taylor store on like Amazon, again, you should be able to find it for $25 or less. It is a classic for a reason. And, this is one that, sure, isn't a modern type of scent. It absolutely smells like a classic scent, but it's a beautiful one. Just honestly, like you would think of something like Chanel number 5. This doesn't smell like that. They're different fragrances, but in the same way that Chanel number 5 has been around for a very long time, and yet anybody can still wear that and it still can smell fantastic. Same thing I think with White Diamonds. So this is probably the truest affordable gem of all of them, because again, this could easily be many times the price and it would not make anybody pause. I think it would totally be fitting, but luckily it is affordable. So White Diamonds by Elizabeth Taylor. All right, that's it. That's all on these affordable fragrances. Now, I could have picked many others in my collection, others that I've mentioned. There's definitely good things. You can look through my other videos to find them. Overall, honestly, the vast majority of the fragrances I purchase are under $100, and even then, under like 75. But like I said, these are the ones that, without a doubt, without a question in my mind, I think are really fantastic and happen to just also be affordable, and they could be more and it would still make sense, but luckily they're not, and you should generally be able to find them for $30 or less. So I just would love to hear from you all in the comments below. Have you tried any of these? What are some affordable gems that you love at, any price point? Because again, I also understand that we all kind of define affordability in a different way. So don't feel that you have to do them around a $30 or less, kind of where I landed with a lot of these. Whatever you think is affordable, whatever you think is good value for money, go ahead and drop that below. If you have any money saving tips or tricks, put that below too. That's another whole subject on just ways to shop, you know, conscientiously and to avoid overspending and things to do to help regulate yourself. Honestly, I will link different people in the description below who are so good at sharing affordable gems and have lots of great tips and tricks and have covered this type of subject far better and in far more depth than I have. And YouTube things if you like, subscribe, all the stuff, I would appreciate it. But again, I just thank you all for joining me here on my fragrance journey. I hope you're all having a great rest of your day. Take care, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.